Hey guys, this is Sahil and welcome to this exclusive episode of Weekly Mastermind for 16th of April 2023, where we are going to look up at first market index. What are the current outperforming sectors? What are underperforming sectors? What are the previous week's weekly gainers and losers? What are the current trending stocks? What are the stocks which we can track for upcoming week? And what are the cup pattern stocks for buy and hold, which we are looking up at since last 4 to 5 weeks? So let's quickly look up at the market index. Nifty up by almost 1.3%, Sensex almost up by 1, Bank Nifty was slightly better than Nifty and Sensex as well, almost up by 2.65%. Mid cap was almost up by 1.5, and India VIX was kind of up by 1%, and USD INR kind of flattish, which means like since last 2 weeks also, as I'm mentioning, that market is into a bullish side and it has perfectly formed a base, which we looked up in all the sessions. So let's quickly look up at the Nifty. As I also mentioned, it has exactly made a doji on the moving average on monthly chart, as you can see on the exact right corner. And even with that, right now it is around 60. Weekly has taken exact 40 support, and on daily it has crossed 60 on the upside. And even with that, it has crossed Bollinger Bands, like it has opened up its squeeze on the upside, which means bulls are absolutely into the control. And even if you're following me on YouTube and everywhere else, you might be analyzing that since last 3 weeks I'm mentioning that the perception of the market is bullish, even though the whole trend was on the downside. But still, the base which was formed on the day of equinox, that is acting as a major support as of now. And even on weekly chart, as you can see, it has crossed moving average on the upside, which means like we have seen lots of bullish zone since last 3 weeks. Similarly, for Bank Nifty, as well as I also mentioned in the last week on daily chart, that it was around the trend line, and as I also mentioned that if it consolidates near that same zone, then we can get retracement. But as of now, it did not give any retracement, and on daily chart, it break out of 60 with a squeeze open on the upside. Similarly, on monthly chart, it has taken exact 40 support, exact 60 support, and on weekly chart, it took exact. You can even consider that 40 support on weekly, and even with that, right now it is slightly better than Nifty, right? Even since last 3 weeks I'm mentioning that Bank Nifty is way more better than Nifty. And even with that, on Bank Nifty, it took that resistance and it broke that out, so which means the banking stocks are outperforming as compared to the Nifty stocks. Let's quickly look up at the sectors. Except this IT and media, all other sectors, as you can see, all were on the upside. Auto, metal, Bank Nifty, FMCG, energy, pharma, infra, and reality. As you can see, reality was the one which was very outperforming, almost up by 5.24. And with that, auto and metal were almost up by 3.2 and 3.6% on the upside. Rest were kind of almost 1 2%, and IT and media were on the downside. And since last 2 weeks, all the sectors were on the upside. But in this current week, IT and media were the stocks which went on the downside. Similarly, next for Nifty IT, as you can see at this point, it is again retesting the bottom. It is again retesting the base at this point on weekly chart. As you can see right now, it is again turning back till weekly 40, monthly is between 40 60, and daily is also around 43. So as of now, this can be value buying, but it is not going to go for any momentum based trade. Next is Nifty Auto. It also took exact range support, and even with that, it took 40 support on weekly. On monthly, it is around 59.7, which means in the upcoming week, if it performs well, then the monthly candle can close above 60 as well. And on daily, it has opened squeeze on the upside. So auto is also performing very good. Next is Nifty Metal. It is around the same base. It is testing and retesting again and again. And as I also mentioned in all the community calls, that it does not take the market or any stock to make its high, but it takes time to form its base. It tests, it retests, it again retests to form a base, because base is something which takes as a support, and from that support zone, it goes beyond that zone. So as of now, Nifty Metal is kind of around the same base zone, and it can consolidate for a few weeks as well. But after that, once it gives momentum on the upside, we can further see move on the upside on metal stocks. Next is for Nifty FMCG, it is around the same zone, although it is outperforming than all the sectors, because monthly, weekly, and daily all are above 60. But on weekly chart, as you can see, this is the resistance zone which it is resisting, and it is obeying since last 2 weeks. It is forming a kind of small doji kind of candle, but as of now, it is consolidating. And on daily also, it is testing the 60. And even with that, we can see further move if it moves on the upside, if it gives bullish candles on the upside. Next is for Nifty Energy. On monthly, it is between 40 60. Weekly is also between 40 60, and daily has crossed 60 on the upside. So as of now, energy, like the whole top down approach is on the downside, but the daily has shown kind of momentum on the upside. Next is Nifty Pharma. Since last 3 weeks, I'm mentioning that pharma stocks, like few of the pharma stocks, are showing good amount of current, and even with that, I'll mention in this video itself, monthly had taken exact 40 support, and even with that, it has slightly moved on the upside till 50, around 50. Right now, it is 49.9. Weekly, it has crossed moving average on the upside, and even with that, on daily chart, as you can see, it has opened its squeeze with such a good move on the upside, which means pharma stocks were since last 2 weeks, it was in a very good current. Next is for Nifty Infra. Monthly is around 60. It has taken exact 60 support, and even with that, it took exact moving average support as well. Weekly is between 40, 60, and daily is above 60. So as of now, we have 60% confirmation to enter in infra stocks as well. Next is Nifty Reality around the base itself on monthly as well as on daily chart. As you can see, it took exact support on the base, and on weekly it has crossed moving average on the upside. So as of now, it is showing current on the daily chart, but the whole approach, like on weekly and monthly, it is between 40, 60. So as of now, we can avoid this. Next is Nifty Media. Again, it is around the base on monthly chart. As you can see, it is around 42. On weekly, it is below 40. So as of now, on weekly, it is showing the bearish zone, and even on daily, it is consolidating. Although it is moving drastically on the upside, again, it is moving on the downside. So it is again in the same zone, but as you can see on RSI, it is showing RSI divergence. The range is in the same zone, but RSI is moving on the upside. So this is for it. Next is weekly best performers from Nifty 50. What are the stocks which performed very well in the last 1 week? Tata Motors almost up by 10.07, Eicher Motors 9.52. Similarly for Kotak Bank, Bajaj Auto, JSW Steel, Bajaj Finserv, and Hindalco. These are the stocks which performed really very well in last 1 week. And even with that, the weekly worst performers from the last week from Nifty 50, those are, as I also mentioned, IT sector was on the downside in the last 1 week. So Infosys, Tech Mahindra, almost down by 2.74 and 2.08. Next is HCL Tech, TCS, Zeal, NTPC, and BPCL. As you can see, like almost all the IT stocks were on the downside. And even with that, all the stocks which are moving on the downside, those are very less. Right. Since last 2 weeks, I'm mentioning in weekly mastermind sessions that all the stocks which are moving on the upside, those are moving very drastically on the upside. Those are giving movement in a good way, right? But the stocks which are moving on the downside, they are giving decline on the downside. Those are very less, right? Which means again a confirmation that bulls have taken control of the market. And next is trend following stocks which are monthly, weekly, and daily, all are above 60. And even with that, in the last inner circle mastermind session, all the community members, all the traders on multipliers, as well as 1 year students, all of you, I know that you know the analysis, all the analysis of all the stocks whichever I'm mentioning. And even with that, if you haven't yet watched the inner circle mastermind session, you will get the recording as well. Make sure you watch that out, and even in this particular video itself, you will get the glimpse of what are the stocks which we discussed in our inner circle mastermind session on Friday. So first is TVS Motors, monthly, weekly, and daily, all are above 60. And even with that, in the week this one in the inner circle mastermind session itself, I have mentioned the exact entry as well as the stop loss price of all the stocks if we enter based on system 3. Next is M&M Finance, monthly, again 60, monthly is around 64.3, weekly is at 60, which means in the upcoming week, if it performs really well, then it will automatically break out of 60, and we will have 100% confirmation to trade based on system 3. Otherwise, the system 3 will also not get executed, because although on daily chart we have breakout of 60, but if it goes below that, then it will automatically resist 60 on weekly chart, and then it will not get executed. Next is Navin Floor, monthly is above 60, weekly is again at the similar kind of condition, 61.1. If it performs really well, then it can also break out of 60, and then we can execute based on system 3 with low risk and high reward kind of trade. Next is DLF, monthly and weekly both are about to cross 60, and daily has already crossed 60 since last, like, except the last 3 days, 2 days it gave very drastic move on the upside. So we can wait for the confirmation on hourly and 15-minute chart to enter based on system 3. But as of now, monthly and weekly, all are, you can even consider like make or break kind of situation. If it moves on the upside, if it gives move on daily chart on the upside, then monthly and weekly will automatically break out of 60, and the whole trend, like monthly, weekly, daily, all will be above 60. It will be in an uptrend. But if it resists, if it consolidates and goes on the downside, then it can resist on monthly as well as weekly chart, and it will be out for system 3. Next is Polycab, monthly, weekly, daily, all are above 60. So as of now, we can wait for low risk entry on this by entering into hourly chart on Polycab. Next is HDFC. This was also the stock which I was mentioning since last 2 weeks. Monthly is around 61, weekly is already, and daily is already crossed 60 on the upside. And even with that, the resistance point which was formed on the weekly chart, it has already broken that zone as well. So we can enter fresh on HDFC. Next is ITC. We were waiting for the low risk entry on this, and even in our previous 10 days live trading challenge, we were around this zone where it was consolidating and it was not giving us any confirmations. And even with that, ITC is around all-time high zone. So we can wait for the confirmations, and based on that, we can enter fresh above the all-time high zone. And next is HDFC Bank, monthly, weekly, daily, all are above 60. Next is Dal Bharat. This was also the stock which I mentioned in last inner circle, this one weekly mastermind session. Monthly is above 60, weekly is around 62, and daily is also above 60. So yeah, these are the stocks. And even with that, if you're someone who is part of our community, if you're someone who is into Tradeathon, who is multiplier students, or even a 1 year student, make sure you watch previous inner circle mastermind session. The whole recording is being provided into your own session itself, your own LMS, in which you will be able to understand what are the stocks. Even these are some of the stocks which we mentioned. There are few more stocks which I have mentioned in that particular session, and even with that, I have given the exact entry point as well as the stop loss price, based on which we can execute our trade based on system 3. And next is tracking stocks which we are tracking since last few weeks. First was Chola Finance, and even with this, it has given a kind of you can even consider slightly retracement. Since last 2 weeks, it was slightly moving on the upside with drastic move, and even with that, in last 4 days, it has kind of consolidated on the downside. It has retraced back, but on weekly chart, as you can see at this point, it has formed change in polarity. The previous resistance is acting as a support. So as of now, once it takes exact 60 support on daily as well as weekly chart, then we can execute our trade based on system 3. Although the monthly chart is already above 60, so we will have 100% confirmation to trade based on Chola Finance. Next is Oro Pharma. We are analyzing since last 2 weeks. It is already outperforming, and it has already broken down that trend line resistance. It was kind of contra trade, and even with that, like the entry point was around 480, and right now it is at 565, almost movement of 60 to 80 rupees on the upside. Yes, almost that zone. And even in all my community calls, I have mentioned, and even few of the students have already taken this trade as well, because this was kind of contra trade, because monthly is between 40-60, and weekly and daily already crossed 60 at that point. Even the weekly was also not crossing the 60, but yes, in the last 1 week it has crossed 60 as well. So as of now, we have entered into Oro Pharma. Next is Dr. Reddy, which I have mentioned that it is also into a pharma stock. But as of now, this was into a consolidation phase. This one, Oro Pharma was kind of contra trade, and Dr. Reddy was kind of consolidation kind of trade. Consolidation breakout, you can even consider. Yes, monthly is about to cross 60, weekly and daily all are above 60. So as of now, even there is kind of record session count, which I mentioned in that session itself of Inner Circle Mastermind, that even at this point, all the pharma stocks can take a breath. They can consolidate for few days, and then again, if it moves on the upside, then we can enter based on low risk entry based on maybe 60 support on daily, hourly, or maybe 15-minute chart. Next is Glenmark. This is also one of the stock which we are analyzing monthly, is between 40-60. It has taken exact 60 support in last 3 months, and even with that, on weekly and daily chart, it has already crossed 60 on the upside. So these are the stocks, and even right now we are going to look up at the cup stocks, which we are analyzing since last few weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. First is Career Point. Resolution point was around 178.50, and the current market price is around 239.50, which means 15, which means we are making good amount of money on this particular stock. Next is ISMT Limited. The resolution point was around 70.40, and current market price is around 70.05. And even in the last 1 week, ISMT Limited came on the downside. So as of now, the resolution point has not been broken down, and even we can wait for the low risk entry on this, maybe based on change in polarity. Next is Fin Cables. This is one of the stocks which was outperforming since last 2 to 3 weeks in all the, you can even consider the cup pattern stocks, and even with that, in last 1 week it moved slightly on the downside. The resolution point was around 758, and the current market price is around 837.85. So this was one of the outperforming stocks from the cup pattern stocks as well. Next is Univ Cables. The resolution point was around 349.80, and current market price is around 400.90. And the last one is Dwarkesh or Dwarikesh Sugar. It was the trade based on change in polarity. The previous resistance is acting as a support, and based on that, we entered on this particular stock. The resolution point was around 80.40, and the current market price is around 92.25, which means we are making good amount of money on this as well. So these are the stocks, and this is the analysis for upcoming week from next week till next Friday. And even I know that since last 2 weeks in April month, there were lots of days where markets were shut, but still market gave good amount of movement on the upside, good range it has captured on the upside. So even with that, whatever analysis which we are doing, if you are liking that particular analysis, make sure you share your biggest takeaways in the chat box. And if you're someone who is from our community, make sure you share your five biggest takeaways. And even with that, if you are not someone who is if you are someone who is not yet a part of our community, and if you want to trade live with me, then from upcoming week we are launching our 10 days live trading challenge, where there will be lots of people, those who will get opportunity to trade live with me with all my community members. And all you have to do is click on the button below. You will get a link to register in the description box. All you have to do is register for that particular webinar. And even with that, in that webinar itself, you will get lots of details on what are the things which you need to inculcate in yourself, what are the things which we are going to take trade, and even with that, what is the analysis which we are going to take trade based on next week for next 10 days as well. And this is going to be like recurring kind of sessions, like 10 days live trading challenge. So make sure, if you are someone who is interested to trade live with me, live with all our community members, and you want to make money with us, then register for our upcoming webinar, in which I'll give you all the details. And not just that, you will also get lots of free gifts worth almost more than 4,999 absolutely for free. All you have to do is click on the link below in the description box. And if you're someone who is part of our community, you will automatically get that as a free access. But if you're not yet a part of our community, make sure you register for our upcoming webinar. That is absolutely for free. All you have to do is you just have to give your 90 minutes, in which I'm going to give you all the details based on which you'll be able to understand on how you can trade live with us. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, make sure you share your five biggest takeaways in the chat box. And if you are someone who liked this particular video, make sure you share your biggest takeaways. And even with that, you share this particular video with your friends and loved ones. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, live fully, love openly, and make the difference today. I wish you joy and abundance in all you do.